Kunle was a well-known trader in the bustling town of Ijebu. He owned a large stall in the center of a popular Oja-Oba Market, where he sold all kinds of goods, clothes, shoes, food, you name it. People loved shopping at Kunle's stall because he was kind and always had what they needed. But there was one rule that Kunle enforced very strictly. No one was allowed to speak in the market after sunset. This rule seemed so strange that some people whispered about it and they thought Kunle wasn't listening. But those who knew Kunle well respected the rule, even though they didn't understand it. They figured Kunle must have a good reason, so they didn't ask too many questions. One day, a young man named Ayo visited Oja-Oba Market for the first time. He had just moved to Ijebu and needed to buy some things for his new home. Ayo was excited because he had heard of many good things about the market, especially Kunle's store. As he approached the store, he saw a small sign that read, "No talking after sunset." Ayo was confused. He looked around and saw that the sun was just beginning to set. He quickly picked up the items he wanted and approached Kunle to pay. But just as Kunle was handing Ayo his change, the last ray of sunlight disappeared. The market grew quiet. It was as if everyone had suddenly forgotten how to speak. Ayo, not understanding the rules, said, "Thank you, sir. I think I also need some matches." As the words left his mouth, Kunle's eyes widened in fear. He quickly gestured for Ayo to be quiet, but it was too late. A cold wind swept through the market, making everyone shiver. Kunle grabbed Ayo's arm and pulled him behind the stall. He whispered urgently, "Why did you speak? Didn't you see the sign?" Ayo stammered. I I didn't think it was that serious. I'm sorry." Kunle looked around nervously, then said, "You must leave the market now, and whatever you do, don't look back." Ayo, still confused and a little scared, did as Kunle said. He left the market in a hurry, his heart pounding. But as he walked away, his curiosity got the better of him. Why was it so important not to talk after sunset? What could possibly happen? The next day, Ayo couldn't stop thinking about the market. He decided to return and ask Kunle about the strange rule. When he arrived, Kunle seemed relieved to see him. But before Ayo could say anything, Kunle spoke first. "You are lucky you left when you did," Kunle said. "But now that you have broken the rule, I owe you an explanation." Kunle led Ayo to a small, quiet corner of the market. He began to tell a story that had been passed down in his family for generations. Many years ago, the land where Oja-Oba Market now stands was a sacred ground, home to the spirit who only appeared after dark. These spirits were once peaceful, but they became angry when people started building the market on their land. As a way to keep the spirit calm, Kunle's ancestors made a deal with them. No one would speak in the market after sunset, so the spirit could roam freely without being disturbed. Kunle's voice dropped to a whisper. "If someone speaks after sunset, the spirit might follow them home. Once the spirit attaches itself to you, it's nearly impossible to get rid of it." Ayo felt a chill run down his spine. He now understood why Kunle had been so strict with the rule. But then Ayo remembered something. "But I spoke last night," he said, his voice trembling. "Does that mean?" Kunle nodded solemnly. "Yes, that's why I told you not to look back as you left. If you had, the spirit would have seen you." Ayo's heart raced as he thought about the wind that had swept through the market. that night before. But something didn't add up. He hadn't felt anything unusual after he left, and he hadn't looked back. Was it possible that he had escaped the spirit's attention? Kunle seemed to read Ayo's thought. You might have been lucky, he said, but we can't be sure. You'll need to perform a cleansing ritual tonight, just to be safe. Before I continue, I want to thank you all for following my stories. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now by clicking the subscribe button. It will help bring you more interesting stories like this one. And all my returning subscribers, I appreciate you so much. Now back to the story. Ayo decided he couldn't just let things end there. His curiosity had been sparked, and he wanted to know more about this spirit. Were they really as dangerous as Kunle said, or was there something else going on? Ayo made up his mind to visit an old man named Babalaja, who was known in Ijebu for his wisdom and knowledge of the old days. If anyone could tell him the truth about the spirit, it would be Babalaja. But little did Ayo know the spirit were already aware of his curiosity, and they didn't like it. Stay tuned for the next part of the story, where Ayo's adventure take an unexpected and thrilling turn. Ayo wasted no time that evening. As the sun began to set, he made his way to Babalaja's house. Babalaja was an old man, respected and feared for his deep knowledge of the spiritual world. When Ayo arrived, Babalaja was sitting outside his small thatched hut, smoking a pipe. "Ah, young Ayo," Babalaja greeted him with a knowing smile. "I have been expecting you." Ayo was surprised. "How did you know I was coming?" Babalaja chuckled. Words traveled fast, especially when the spirits are involved. "Come sit." Ayo sat on a small wooden stool, and Babalaja began to speak. "You have disturbed the spirit of Oja-Oba Market, but there is more to this story than you know. These spirits were once guardians of the land. They protected it for long before the market was built. But when the market was established without proper respect, the spirit became restless." Ayo listened carefully as Babalaja continued. "The rule of the silence after sunset was meant to honor them, to give them the peace during the night. But not all spirits are evil. Some are simply lost, longing for a return to their purpose." "Is there a way to make peace with them?" Ayo asked, his voice filled with concern. Babalaja nodded. "There is. Tonight you must return to the market, but not alone. Kunle will guide you, and I will give you a special item, a secret bell. When you ring this bell at the stroke of midnight, the spirit will hear it. Speak to them with respect and tell them you mean no harm. Ask for their forgiveness, and they may allow you to live in peace." Ayo felt a mixture of fear and determination. He took the bell from Babalaja and thanked him before leaving to find Kunle. Later that night, as the moon hung high in the sky, Ayo and Kunle entered the silent market. The air was thick with tension, and the shadows seemed to move on their own. They reached the center of the market, where Kunle nodded for Ayo to begin. With trembling hands, Ayo rang the bell. The sound echoed through the empty stall, filling the market with this clear, pure tone. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a soft whisper filled the air, growing louder until it surrounded them. Ayo swallowed his fear and spoke. "Spirit of Oja-Oba, I ask for your forgiveness. I did not mean to disturb your peace. Please, let us live in harmony. We honor this land, and we honor you." The whispers grew quieter, and the wind that had picked up moments earlier calmed down. Then a voice, gently and ancient, spoke directly to Ayo. Your words are true. We will allow peace, but the market must honor us as it once did. Let the bell be rung every night before sunset, a reminder that we are here, watching. Iron nodded, understanding the gravity of the moment. I will make sure of it, he promised. As soon as he said those words, the air around them became still. The spirit had accepted his plea. The tension that had filled the market lifted. A sense of calm returned. Kunle looked at Ayo with relief and responded, "You've done something great today, Ayo." The next morning, Ayo and Kunle returned to the market, where they rang the bell before sunset, just as the spirit had requested. The other traders soon learned of the change, and they all agreed to honor the spirit by keeping the bell ringing tradition alive. From that day forward, the market thrived even more than before. The spirits were at peace, and so were the people. Ayo and Kunle became close friends, and the story of how Ayo bravely faced the spirit spread through Ijebu. As time passed, Ayo became known as the young man who had saved Oja-Oba Market, and he continued to keep Kunle with his stall, ensuring that the spirit were always respected. The story teaches us the importance of respecting traditions and rules, especially when we do not fully understand their significance. Even when something seems strange or unnecessary, it may hold a deeper meaning and purpose. Ayo's bravery shows that even when faced with fear and uncertainty, it is important to confront challenges head on. Courage and determination can lead to positive outcome, even in the most difficult situation. The story highlights the importance of seeking forgiveness and making amends when we have made a mistake. A sincere apology and a willingness to correct our wrong can restore peace and harmony. Thank you so much for joining me once again on this amazing story. Please, if you enjoyed this story, do not forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more amazing stories like this one. Thank you. I truly appreciate your support, and I'll always be happy to share more stories with you. Until next time, bye bye.